This is Greg Allison with Green Gregs coming to you on the 16th of June, 2021. Time on date, 4,500 hours, Central Daylight Time. Just how critical is Taiwan to the United States? Some people think Taiwan is not really a critical asset, that we don't have any real vested interest there, other than they are a primary chip maker of some critical chips that we use throughout our industry. But beyond that, a lot of people think, well, of course, it's a democracy, and we want to defend democracies or republics. Actually, it's a republic. It's a Republic of China, actually. Predates the People's Republic of China and mainland. So, but just how critical is it the United States? A lot of Americans are thinking it's not that critical. But some Japanese writers are trying to point out otherwise to us. And of course, if you were in Japan or in Australia, you might consider Taiwan more critical to you. And some of them are trying to get the United States to see the same view. And why is that? Well, it's because of the strategic significance of Taiwan and what taking it means to the Pacific Ocean. We're going to get into that. I'll bring you this in my series of Eyes Wide Open and Head on Swivel News, because I think it's very important for you to understand what's going on in the world. Because in order to prepare, you need to be aware. And don't be scared, be prepared. There's a proposition in this channel to help you survive, thrive, and stay out of the hive. So along those lines, guys, I do bring you special deals. Like we've got a special right now with prepwithgreg.com where you can get, guys, $300 off a 3-month supply of 25-year lasting food. That's hard to beat, guys. This is freeze-dried, which when it's reconstituted, still has the same cellular structure. It's not goo. It's real food, good stuff, just like regular dinners. It is wonderful. So check it out. You get breakfast, lunch, and dinner. 2,000 calories a day, make you a winner. Last over 25 years. So, and there's other prepping supplies there on prepwithgreg.com. Just go there and click the My Patriot Supply logo and takes you in all kind of prepping supplies. All that said, I also bring you videos of things you can eat for free, like from the weeds and the trees. But it may be a little bit more difficult. You may not get the calories, the proteins you need, possibly. But we'll work on that too. But that's the harder part. But it sure is a whole lot easier when you get stuff sitting in ready in your storeroom. But also tell you to grow stuff. Got all those kind of videos on my channel. How to grow, how to stow, but mainly how to eat from the wild and how to grow your own food. All right, all that said, check out my videos, subscribe to my channel, bang the notification bell, and click all to get more videos about the things you need to keep aware about, the things that you need to inform your friends about so they stay aware of the needing to prepare. All right, so we're going to get into this. I'm going to do a share here to show you all the strategic significance of what we're talking about. We're going to go to, I don't have Google Earth on, oops, I'm going to move the whole thing, I'm going to move the map. I don't have Google Earth on this computer. This is an older computer. I need to upgrade it. I did have it, but it crashed and won't run anymore. I can't get it on here. So, but I'm using Google Maps, okay? And so from Google Maps, let me point this out. There was a Chinese admiral back, in the early 2000s, proposed to an American admiral, says, hey, why don't we just divide the Pacific Ocean? We take the western half and you take the eastern half of the Pacific Ocean. Half and half sounds good, right? Well, of course, American wasn't interested, but here's why. What do you have over here in the western half of the Pacific Ocean? We have some very important allies: Japan, South Korea, of course, Taiwan, which we're not officially allied to anymore, the Philippines. We are an ally of the Philippines. And then down here, our good buddies in Australia. We've got New Zealand. All this is, and we've got United States territory. Let me zoom in. Guam. See, we got a lot of islands down in here, just tons and tons of islands, little islands. There's Indonesia, Papua New Guinea, Malaysia, a lot of countries in here. And a lot of them that we deal with. Singapore, we trade a lot through Singapore. A lot of Thailand, a lot of countries that are vital to us. Like I said, we actually have alliances with Japan and South Korea, pretty strict alliances with those countries, and the Philippines. So They would be rather upset if we just gave up that side of the Pacific. But Greg, half's half, so like a good deal, right? Well, so this is the right here. I'm focused in on the western half. Okay, what's in the eastern half? Okay, now we're there. What's in the eastern half? Well, we got the United States state of Hawaii and the United States state of Alaska in silence. And ain't much else up here. Midway, I guess. Few islands down here in the southeastern Pacific. Nope, I got to move back over here. I was over in the western Pacific. That's all we got, guys. No alliances down here. We just got there's Galapagos Islands. We just got a few little islands over here. That's it. And we don't have a lot of islands out here. The first island chain, second island chain, so forth to defend ourselves, like China does over here if they should take Taiwan. So yeah, that would be a great deal. So let's back out and look at the whole Pacific Ocean here. See, that would be, you see, a lot of land, continents, islands, big islands, little islands over here. Not so much over here. So I guess, you know, China would naturally love that deal. That's their so-called neighborhood. But then again, if they took all that, what's to keep them from taking the rest? Ain't a whole lot else left in what's called the rest. What's to keep them from taking it? They had all this and got it massed up and built up and had the defenses. They could they could take the whole ocean if they wanted. Greg, how would they do that? That's preposterous. So let's go in down here. There's something called a first island chain. The first island chain are these first islands, Japan being part of it. This is all considered a first island chain. And China has often said they want to dominate this first island chain. But they got a big hole in their armor, a big chink. They got a country here that views themselves as an independent nation, and they always have been, because the People's Republic of China was an insurgency that rebelled against the Republic of China, which fled in exile to Taiwan. The Republic of China is the older country. It is a nation. It is not a breakaway province. So this is Taiwan. And they are what's holding China out here. You know, if Taiwan's hard to take. If they took it, it would be hard for us to take back. Very difficult. Because and it would be harder for us to take it back, probably it would be for them to take it in the first place, which would be very difficult. They wouldn't have to pay dearly to take this island. But once they had it, they would have quite a launching point from here out in order to do from Hainan Island here. So they've got these little islands here through the South China Sea that they built on atolls. A lot of you people are aware of these little islands on the 9-dash line that they built up on the atolls, all the way down, all the way around in here, right? Right all inside the territories of all these other nations. They grabbed this sea and they built islands in the exclusive economic zones of other nations. And they're building military bases on them. So of course, a lot of our guys say, hey, you know what? That's nothing. We can take those islands out over time. We can blast them to pieces. Over time, we'll trim them away and we'll move in. The problem is, it's the range of the weapons that the Chinese have to bear. If they put those on those islands, holy smoke. But they got let me show you. First, you got this DF-1 rocket, and you can see the kind of range. Oh, that's a good map there. I'll go back to it in a minute. The DF-1 has a range of about 1,000 miles, depending on which configuration you're talking about here. About 1,000 miles. But the DF-27, hang on, DF-26, if I can get it over here. The DF-26 has got a much bigger range of about 3,000 miles. 3,100 miles. That's huge. That's like diagonally across the United States. That is huge miles. You consider that weapon system, and you come back over here, that puts them all, you know, they call it a Guam killer. Guam's out here, you know. So this is the kind of range you're talking about already. So first ships to get in, you have to get in the range to attack these islands. They've already got some pretty formidable weapons, especially based on the Hainan Island here, which is definitely Chinese Hong Kong up here, you know. But they've got this island. It gives them quite a firing base, and these little islands in here would too. And so what the concern is they would set up interlocking fire from all these islands they have through here. If they set up plus their ships, plus Hainan and mainland China, they have quite a sector So quite a few sectors of fire, interlocking sectors of fire that would defend these islands there. So they won't be as easy to take as a lot of analysts proclaim. Not nearly as easy. Not saying it can't be done, but I'm going to tell you, it's not going to come easy. It will come at a cost. So, but the key, the linchpin, the whole thing is Taiwan. Now, Formosa. Without that, they got a huge chink in their armor right here. And that's why they're real sensitive about Taiwan. In fact, militarily, if we were closer to Taiwan, it would really scare China, but it would really knock the socks out of any big expensive plans they might have. So, but if China took Taiwan, then they could really lash out against Japan and South, even down in here, because what people in Australia have already observed, and some have been right, and says, we're about the same population as Taiwan. If Taiwan falls, what's to keep them from taking us? And see, they're already China is already going after the Shenkiao Islands and other islands that belong to Japan and claiming them as their own. What's going to keep them from going on? What's going to keep them from taking the entire first island chain eventually? So Japan is quite worried about this. South Korea is worried about this. And, oh, Greg, they're not worried about it. Oh, yeah. Okay. Survey. 88% of Japanese and 72% of South Koreans see China as a military threat. Well, South Korea is a little bit further away, and they're a little bit more embroiled with North Korea, so they're more focused on North Korea. But yet, 72% of South Koreans see China as a military threat. That is not insignificant, my friends. But, hey, Japan is stepping up the plate, guys. They're building a lot of submarines and stuff to try to counter China to some degree. It won't be anywhere near tit for tat for the submarine fleet that exists in China, but it's enough that if they were going to try to help the Taiwanese out, they could definitely help prevent the crossing of the Strait of Taiwan there. So if we look at this, or an invasion, I should say, from China might be the easiest way to put it. So Japan is planning to build several submarines. Problem is, they don't really plan to have them they're not really be filling them into 2030. It takes a while to build these things up. So a lot of them, they're going to repair and refurbish some of the ones they got, but the new ones are building to be coming online about 2030. That's what they're looking at. They're going to be putting some, enter service in 2030. They're going to be putting some really sophisticated technology on these boats, though. So, in the Navy, a ship will float, but a boat goes underneath, right? I'm not a naval guy. But guys, the tensions are ratcheting up right now. As you may know, China sent 28 military planes into Taiwan's airspace. 28 planes, which is the record. The record. I mean, now they're beginning to flutter around with valid forces for it could be used to actually make attacks. So Taiwan is really going to be considering this, looking at it. So the breakdown of these, according to Taipei, the capital of Taiwan, those 28 included 14 J-16 fighters, 6 J-11 fighters, 4 nuclear-capable H-6 bombers, as well as anti-submarine, electronic warfare, and early warning aircraft. So they sent quite a flotilla of aircraft into the airspace there, enough that they actually, if they wanted to, could have conducted some kind of attack. So they've really been ratcheting it up. So it may be that that we may have a conflict here. We may be heading for it. Definitely, as you can see, a lot of people are worried about it. You can see that China has some very massive weapons. Hey, our biggest defense is our interoperability of our systems, our communications, our data fusion between our sensor systems and our different weapons platforms, the ability of our guys at sea to stay mobile, hopefully making it harder to target them. But hey, the opponents have lots and lots and lots of vehicles that they can target with, and they have the range. So war with China would not be a piece of cake, my friends. But we may wind up coming to the question of, do we fight them here Or are we going to defy them here? That may be what it boils down to. That's what some of the Japanese writers are trying to impress upon us. So will they take Guam? Guam is probably pretty much at risk. There's a whole lot of American servicemen on Guam. But you got to remember, everybody on Guam is a citizen of the United States. Everyone on Guam, the natives included, are American citizens. So Guam is an American territory with a lot of American service members on it. Japan has a lot of American service members. American service members, and of course in South Korea. And there's a lot of Americans in Japanese and Taiwan. That's one of the things that Japan is thinking, hey, if China attacks Taiwan, we're going to have to hit back. This is something, and if they do, well, then we're treaty obligated to Japan. You see how this plays out, guys? We could find ourselves, this could escalate easily. So according to the Japanese, Taiwan is quite a critical asset to the United States. As it is, it's a big chink in China's armor. I think the real hope would be that, see, a lot of our defensive postures, a lot of things we're saying now is, oh, well, if China struck, we would give them economic sanctions. Problem with that is they're banking on that. To them, that's a good trade. Okay, well, we get hit with some economic sanctions, but we get Taiwan. And then from there, we can take all this. See, and a game of chessmanship, that's a win for China. Big win. So what? We get sanctions. We're already getting sanctions, No, they think that's funny. That's like, come on, take it. Whether we intend to or not, we ought to at least leave plenty of doubt in China's mind that we might indeed hit them and hit them hard if they take Taiwan. I'm not a militaristic guy in that area, and I really want to promote peace. But here's what I really think. Here's what I really think we need to do. United States, Japan, Australia, India, we need to put China on notice that, hey guys, just don't get too militarily adventurous. Because there will be grave consequences. They should have to doubt before they strike out. The advantage of that is maybe they won't. If we can hold them off long enough, then as their the demographic population of China is aging fast. And as that population mushrooms more and more to a larger proportion of elderly people, as the younger people are going more into this laying down philosophy of not working as hard, we might see the steam leave China's engines of aggression, their passion to strike out, the passion they've had to bully other countries. We might see that dissolve, just blow away, if we can just keep them at bay. So I think the objective, honestly, is just to keep them at bay until the day they blow away. That's what Greg Allison has to say. I don't want to rush for war, and by any shape or fashion, because a war with China would be devastating here and there. No, it's not. It would not be a cakewalk. You should expect utter destruction. I don't want that. They don't want that. In fact, they don't want that. It should be the deterrence. We would hope. Anyway, if they think they can take more and they start reaching out, how much do you let them take before you say, hey, that's enough? How far do they go? How far do you let Germany go in the 1930s and 1940s? The Japanese Empire. One of the reasons we have the alliances we have with Japan today is with concern that they would form an empire. We destroyed the Japanese Empire, but then we went and rebuilt the Japanese Republic. They have an emperor. In a sense, they still have an empire, but we destroyed the military empire that they had. And they formed a constitution of passivity. We guaranteed them defense on the grounds that they would be passive so that they wouldn't be reaching out and doing that all over again. That was the fear. Well, Japan's got an aging demographic too. And with their generally passive nature, I really don't send that. I think really and truly we got to work to get them to step up, like just to defend themselves. China having grown the way they have today, the notion of Japan posing the kind of threat they once did to the world, that's not anything we're going to see in many generations to come, I don't think. So I think we should encourage Japan to step up again. They will be spending more of their GDP, on national defense. We're going to be approaching the numbers that America's been suggesting. And so they're stepping up the game. I think they should. It's a shame that we have to be in this kind of a situation. I'd rather we only have countries. That's my job, is that we could get rid of all this stuff, not have all these big standing militaries. That's not a good thing, but as long as there's a big threat. Yeah, guys, we blew it with Russia. We really did. We blew it with Russia. I need to do a report just on this whole thing with Biden and Putin. We blew it when Yeltsin was president. When the Soviet Union fell apart, the Russians just thought we'd swoop in there and help them and rebuild it, and that they'd have a great, wonderful republic, and we'd all be getting along, one big happy family. Wouldn't be no need for NATO and national defense. The problem was they dissolved the Warsaw Pact, but we kept NATO. But worse than that, our bankers and vulture capitalists swept in there and was picking Russia clean, just picking the bones of the Russian country to pieces, picking them clean. And they had to stand up and stop that. And that brought nationalism into play and helped bring Putin to power. That and a few other internal domestic politics to do with chickens and so forth. But Russia had their own little internal 9/11. Some people doubt the authenticity of that and think that Putin rigged it to get his own power. But, Putin was KGB. I'm not saying he's a great guy, but I would say this: on the whole, on the bigger picture, we'd be far better off to make peace with Russia, because Russia stands more to lose from China in the long run. And we don't want to see Russia and China allied with each other in a conflict against us. And if China knows they can't count on Russia, they might, again, tend to be less aggressive. So I think we just need to try to take some of the wind out of the sail that encourages China to be aggressive. One of the best ways we can do that: quit buying their junk, quit trading with them. Hey, Apple, bye-bye. And guess what? If we get sanctions and they national, I think we ought to nationalize Chinese assets here, given the, especially if the bug came from there, it can be proven, or maybe some Americans funding gain of function. Well, hey, who's scale for them, right? So it looks like, guys, we need to ally with Russia. And what we need to not be buying stuff from China. And if China nationalizes American corporate assets, they're tough nuggies, boys. You shouldn't put your stuff around in the first place. Bye-bye, Apple computer. Bye-bye, Apple. Bye-bye, iPhones. Guys, what did you do that for? I mean, really. So that's the way the cookie crumbles. And, like reported previously in the video, that part of China's strategy to dominate the United States was to own industries in every congressional district. So they had their fingers in the pockets of every congressman in the United States, and essentially would turn the U.S. Congress into a CCP Congress. CC approved. That was their aim. Take us from within. Good time to stop that. All right, guys. They should not be allowed to buy stuff, especially big tracts of land near military bases, some of which are putting big airfields down on some strange piece of, so I'm told. Okay. That's the gist of it, guys. China is really aggressive. Taiwan, they want it really bad, but if you really look at it, you can see why. It's a huge military asset to them for their expansion spurs. Why do they want to dominate another people? Why is this obsessiveness about dominating other people? That's wrong. People of Taiwan don't want nothing to do with you. They don't deserve to be dominated by you. You don't own other people. Xi Jinping. You don't own anybody else. You don't own the Uyghurs. You don't own the Tibetans. Free Tibet. Free the Uyghurs. Free Jinping. So there we go. And I know I'm going to get all kind of comments below about how bad America is. Didn't say America was good. But on the whole, of late, we're not nearly as aggressive as China. And we're trying to make amends for a lot of our grievances in the past. China, not so. So that's why you need to watch out for them. All right, my friends. In the end, we win. So just remember that. But, you know, a war between the United States and China is very likely, unfortunately. Very, very, very likely. And whether it's over Taiwan or not, generally, it may not be. We're probably going to stand off with them and take Taiwan. But we're going to be fighting them over Japan, over the Philippines, or something else. So, and then we'll be at a bigger disadvantage. That's what the most likely outcome is. The best outcome would be that we would discourage them from their military adventurism. We find ways to discourage them from taking Taiwan, and no, economic sanctions is not going to do it. You got to make them scared of it. Peace through strength. That's what Ronald Reagan taught. A lot of people criticize him. The Soviet Union fell apart. Ronald Reagan broke the Soviet Union. Quite an accomplishment. All the presidents for Ronald Reagan cowered him. The North Russians. Ronald Reagan says, I'm here. Watch it, boys. And they fell apart. So there you go. Yeah, he said the bombing commences in 5 minutes on accident on a mic when he didn't realize that the mic was live, and the Russians. Oh, okay. I'm glad the bombing didn't commence. Amen to that. Guys, there's good people in every country on earth. Literally. The Chinese mainland, the People's Republic of China, has good people, and lots of them. Good-hearted people, smart people, hardworking people. I would dare say even some are in the CCP. They're just in the party because they have to be there to get ahead. Is their heart there? They're just doing what they got to do. It's the top brass that really lead things the way they go. Remember that. But, you know, that's the way it is in any country. It's about any party. There's good people everywhere. It's a shame we get pitted against each other by those who rise to the top because they find that they can gain power by stirring the pot and pointing at other people or wanting to take things or telling people how great they are and what all they deserve and how we're going to get this and that for you. And it's all yours. Well, that's a delusion. Nobody else belongs to you. I don't care who you are. Other people do not belong to you. If they willingly want to be part of you, then you're in it together. If they don't want to be, let them go. You don't deserve them. You don't own them. Let it be. That's my philosophy. That's a philosophy of liberty. Liberty for all. For all races, colors, creeds, religions. Liberty for all. Liberty is colorblind. Justice is blind. Remember, the blind falls on justice. That's what it should be. Blind, but fair, equal, balanced as possible. But hey, the beauty of private enterprise is incentive to earn, learn, and to grow. All right, my friends, I've said enough. I've been on this horse enough. Just remember that the world is a risky place. There's a lot of tension. The prospects for war are way higher than they should be. So, but don't be scared. Be prepared. Prepare. Get your family ready. Grow your own food. I got videos on that. Learn to eat from the wild, especially in case you have to go out on maneuvers to move around if you have to leave your home. I would urge you not to. I'd urge you to have a home that you can bug into instead of a bug outside somewhere else. But if you need that, have that too. But have a way to get there fast. And moreover, I encourage you to like I said, grow your own food, store food, and just prepare as much as you can. Stack it high to the rafters. All right, my friends. Thank you for watching.